Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV's live coverage of the Skip Barber Monday Lights Racing Series, coming to you live tonight at Silverstone National. And as always, we've got, I've forgotten your introduction there, I had it all in my head. Anyway, Alex McCall with me tonight folks, and as you can see, they're out there qualifying at the moment.
G'day Bernie, g'day everyone. Everyone out there qualifying. It looks like a nice cool track at 19 degrees tonight, Bernie, so there'll be some quick times out there. And I'll tell you what, there's some quick people out there too. We've jagged not only jagged the top strength of field of the week, but we've got it by a country mile, by nearly 300 overall average I rating there, Bernie. We've got a strength of field of over 4,400 tonight. It's all fours. 4,444. It's amazing. We haven't had one this strong in as long as I can remember. So the guys have all come out to play. Expect to see some hard and fast racing out there tonight with some quality drivers, Bernie.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at our driver lineup at the moment. We've got 17 out there, and Enzo Cantor at the moment, provisional pole. His fastest time, a 1:04.818. And we'll just bring up the top qualifying standings now. That's a new name I haven't seen. Ade Koba Lopez. He jumps to the front, 1:04.386. So he's just snatched it off Enzo. Ben Snell jumps up to third at the moment, Alex. And then we've got Luke Whitten and Alan Needle is our top five.
Yeah, Ade Koba Lopez has actually just decided that one lap's enough. He's a pro driver too, Bernie. Top ranked driver here tonight, as well as holding an iRacing Pro licence. I rating of 7,668. That's the extreme lofty heights of the iRacing service, Bernie. But he and Enzo, unless they've grabbed two quick laps, they're out there and they've run and won their qualifying anyway. So as has Timo Vascalampi sitting there in P3, Bernie. Looks like a couple of the guys, Sven Plutter just went sideways through the second to last quarter as I caught him there, Bernie. But looks like quick laps around here, resulting in guys finishing their qualifying quickly, but very fast times. A 1:04.3 on pole with Mr. Lopez there, Bernie. Not only is that a result of the really good track conditions here, Bernie, but it's also of an outstanding driver, obviously.
Yeah, and Kevin Henderson just put in his final lap there. He's jumped into ninth with a 1:04.854. We've got Tim Hendrickson out here, though. He's doing his final qualifying lap now, and we'll see if he can get into the top 10. I'm pretty sure he will, but it's just a matter of where he drops in. But Christian Kabanka, he's our last in 10th at the moment, right on the bubble. 1:04.888 was his time.
Fantastic time there. That'll get you pole in almost any other split of the week, Bertie. But interesting, you mentioned Kevin, who's finished qualifying, of course. His car number 17, seeded 17 out of 17. If you can believe it, he's got an I rating of 3,600 and only just snuck into this split. It's been a long time since we've had a field of this calibre, as Tim Hendrickson rounds the final corner now, heading up to the line. Let's see what time he can do. Can he improve on his P13? What's he done, man?
Up to 7th.
Wow, that's a great jump. He's done a 1:04.8. He's done a fantastic jump. Can you believe it, Bernie? The top 15, the top 14 drivers, 15 now, separated by under a second. What an outstanding field.
Oh, it's incredible. We've got Josh Anderson now on his final flying lap as well. His last time was a pretty slow one, 1:05.033, sitting down there in 14th at the moment. So he's going to want to find around about half a second. Doesn't sound like much, but it can be quite a lot when you're in a field like this.
Yeah, absolutely you can. Now, all but one driver. We saw Sven Plutter go sideways through the second to last corner, Bernie, and that's cost him he's down in 17th, car number 7, but the rest of the field separated by less than 1 second, and with the times out here and the calibre of this field, it's plenty to look forward to at this stage, Bernie.
Yeah, and we can see Josh now coming around to finish his lap, ticking away 1:02, 1:03, 1:04.609, and where does that push him? Up to 4th. So there you go.
That's a great effort from Josh. I'd expect nothing less. He's one of the top Australian drivers in quite a number of categories. Had the pleasure of racing with him or seeing him drive by me in the local Pro Mazda series here down under the Wankel Australian New Zealand Championship last week, and he failed to set a qualifying time, started at the back and ended up at the front very shortly afterwards. Quite incredible drive.
Well, speaking about the front, Benny Simonson, or Simonson, is it Simonson? Just snatched pole with the last second, 104.371. So he's going to start from pole position tonight. So looking at our grid, folks, Benny Simonson from UK and Ireland will start from pole. Ade Koba Lopez from Iberia will start in second. Enzo Cantor from Italy, he's going to start out a third tonight, with Timu Vascalampi from Finland in fourth. First of the Aussies, Joshua Anderson out of fifth, and he's got his fellow countryman Ben Snell starting out of sixth. Out of seventh tonight is Luke Whitten, followed by Alan Needle. Tim Hendrickson out of ninth, with Hakon Grebstad starting in 10th. Out of 11th tonight, Carlos Sainz, and then we have Kevin Henderson starting in 12th position. Out of 13th is Christian Kabanka, and then we've got Bart Martinovic, I think I got that right, Jeremiah Morton out of 15th. 16th, Sam Katakasinos, and rounding out our field of 17 is Sven Plutter.
Great to see some of the regulars in the field, Bernie. Kevin Henderson in the starting, at least in the last of the point scoring positions for Monday Night Lights. Great to see Christian Kabanka down there in 13th. He's joined us from the US. He promised to make an appearance tonight. Great to see him down here. Jeremiah Morton messaged me before the race, Bertie. He's short on practice, and in this kind of field it shows. Way down in P15, which is unfamiliar territory for him. Sam Katagazinos down in 16th place. Be interesting to see. I followed with him in the or raced with him last night in the round 2 of the Australasian Super Skips round here, and he had some interesting lines, that's for sure. Be interesting to see how he runs here tonight.
Yeah, well, revs are rising now. We're looking from blimp cam, folks, because that's really the only decent camera view this track has. But we can see Benny Simonson getting a good start there, and just trying to get who's tucked in right behind him.
Right behind him would be, the order's just settling down for me now. Ade Lopez there, Bernie, our professional driver here tonight. Although Benny Simonson, of course, is a professional driver in real life as well. So we've got two pros up the front, with Enzo Cantor, 3-time series champion, sitting in third. Ade Lopez looking on the outside there. Not a bad line to take as Benny Simonson defends through that first series of corners, Bernie. The field going 4 wide behind. Luke Whitten forced extremely wide through turn 4 as they start to settle back down. They were 4 wide there for a moment, Bertie. Everyone's got through safely. Once again, talking to the calibre of this field as they head down the back straight for the first time.
Yeah, Nade is having a look on the outside of Benny Simonson here. He tucks in now as they come back into the stadium area here. 22 laps remaining. It's going to go pretty quick. And I can see Jeremiah Morton. He started in 17th. I think he started from the pits tonight.
Yeah, he might well have done. Well, a bit of contact out the back. Luke Whitten's gone for a ride there, Bernie. It looked like it was a bit messy there through the final corner as they went through. They've gone 2 and then made it 3 wide there. Who was that? He's going into Ben Snell on the outside there. Just on his inside there, he had Carlos Sainz, who's tracked out like there was no one there, and that's balked Luke a bit, and he's run into Ben Snell on the outside by the looks, Bernie, and then it's... From there, Luke's gone left, right, left. He's gone out in front. Kevin Henderson's collected him in the rear as well. That's turned him right around into Hawkon and destroyed his rear suspension, and he will not be happy with that, Bernie. Caught up in other people's troubles. Christian Kabanka also getting caught out by the spinning Hawkon at that stage, and that's a nasty way to end lap 1, Bernie.
Yeah, we're just having a look at the replay here as they come into the stadium section here. Hopefully our camera's going to pick it up because... there we go. Yeah, we've got a bit of a view there, folks. And he did actually gather it up, didn't he, before the 17 got into him. Then he got into the 11, spinning on the main straight. And, wow, all heck broke loose. I don't know what that black and white car was that threaded the needle, but he nearly got away with that.
Yeah, he certainly did. Ben Snell unfortunately had a bit of echo contact with Tim Hendrickson earlier, and that put him really in a poor position, or an awkward position, I should say, when Luke was forced to run wide by the car inside him, and then it's pinballs from there. Bernie, cars going everywhere. It's a real shame. The number of drivers really upset at that point.
Yeah, and we're riding now with the day. Oh, I heard an engine blow behind us, I think. Maybe it's not, but it definitely sounded like an engine blow up to me as we see Benny Simonson going really wide there. Now Enzo's defending Ade on the inside as they come into the stadium area, too wide. We'll see how this is going to shake out. Ade on the outside, can he hold it there? If he can, he's going to get right. Yes, he's taken it on the outside. Good driving.
Yeah, you can get a good drive around the outside line of that second to last, or that exit off the main straight there, Bernie, and hold around the outside, sets you up for the inside of the last corner there, Bernie, or at least they're going through now, that sort of last corner really, the bend there on the as they cross the start-finish line at the end of lap 2, start of lap 3. You can do that. I know firsthand, Alex John put me through the ringer a couple of times last night in the Super Skips race, showed us both how it was done, Roman and myself, driving around the outside, setting up the overtake on the inside. It shows it can be done with good driving, good drivers around you. Oh, Tim Hendrickson gets caught out as the traffic checks up, nearly runs into Timo Vascalampi in front of him. Those two have got a healthy rivalry as it is. A lot of banter between those guys, so that wouldn't have gone down well if it had ended up in contact, Bernie.
And it's interesting, Josh has gone on the inside. The whole train's decided they're going to go on the outside. Left him in there with no one to tow. But he's defended out Tim Hendrickson, Carlos Sainz up to 7th at the moment. He's having a great battle here with Tim as they go too wide. And who's that right behind him? Alan Needle, also in this train.
Yeah, Alan's he started 8th. He's stuck in 8th at the moment. Big mover in front of him in Carlos Sainz. He's the one who forced Luke wide on the exit, unbeknownst to Carlos, of course. There was a stricken Ben Snell on the outside, and then that was where it all came unstuck for quite a number. There's still a lead pack here all the way down to P8 with Alan Needle there just hanging on the back. A great leading pack here as Ade looks on the outside again, just poking the nose on the outside for something different behind Benny Simonson. Oh, big contact there, Bernie.
Yeah, Josh Anderson. I think there was Josh Anderson involved in that. It started when they got into Enzo Cantor, sorry folks. The car in front of him, who was that? I think that was Alan Needle got into him, I think, or it could have been Tim Hendrickson.
Yeah, no, it looks like Josh has, Timo Vascalampi has got just a little netco canter. That's been enough to balk him, and then that's caught out Josh behind him. And then Josh has got fairly and square in the back of Timo, and then there's sort of shopping trolley action there as they go nose to tail. Quite a few of them there as they went through turn 3 that time, Bernie. Tim Anderson might have got away with it, but certainly Josh and Timo facing the wrong way in a cloud of dust, smoke, I should say, from his tyres. He'll be lucky if he survives that without pitting, Bernie.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, the way Josh sort of hit Timo there, I know it's spring, but I don't know what happens if two skips sort of mate. What do they make?
I don't know if it quite works anatomically nose to tail, Betty, but that's certainly not what I learned at school. But anyway, the race is continuing up front. Benny Simonson still out in front with Ade. He's holding off Ade Lopez. Interesting to see the quality of a real-life pro driver battling with an iRacing pro driver, and a high standard of one at that. His world-class, his World Championship licence is sitting at 4.0, which is not only a very skillful driver to get to that level, but a very safe driver as well, low incident count. So it'll be interesting to see what tactics play out between these two as the real world and the esports simulation world combine.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting indeed, and I think the gap between the two these days is probably not as great as some people would probably think, but Benny is a professional driver, and I guess Ade in his own right is as well, but in the virtual world.
Yeah, 100%, Bernie. And as we know from the Benny's swinging out really wide to the left. There's no incident points out there. The track limits aren't very tightly defined here. But as our viewers would know from the World Fastest Gamer broadcast on a Saturday night on RRTV, there's a real overlap these days between the online and the real racing world, with the McLaren Formula One team searching out the realms of the virtual sim racing world for their next simulator driver. You know, a full-time professional job with the McLaren F1 team. And you can have that out of being a sim racer here on iRacing. So, again, a little example of the real world and the virtual world coming together in this modern era of sim racing, Bernie. But the battle up front now between these three high-quality drivers, Benny Simonson, Ade Lopez and Enzo Cantor, continues. On lap 8 now, they're heading into this first twisty section here, round to turn 3, setting themselves up for the longest straight on the circuit. Very important turn. Not running as wide as many have there. Look at their Ade Lopez cutting over to the right there, leaving Benny out wide there. Benny now cutting across, not hearing a spotter's call, so he's safe to come right across. You can see Enzo ducking up the inside, using the draft there, places his car well. Ade thinking very sensibly, showing great race IQ there. No point in fighting 2x2 there. They've got a gap of 4 seconds. It's ever increasing, Bernie, as they go through the final corner on the tail end of lap 8. Great driving there, really sensible. Fantastic to see what's to come.
Yeah, it certainly is, as we see them now go across the start-finish line. Enzo's carrying quite a bit of rear wing damage there. Not sure how that's going to affect his top-end speed, but he's definitely hanging with these guys, and no doubt we'll hear from him a bit later on when he comes up into the comm box.
Yeah, fantastic, Evan, all things considered. He did cop a little touch in that previous incident that we saw through turn 3. Fantastic thing. Hey, Ade Lopez nearly got into the rear of him again. Looks like Enzo might be struggling with his little brother there, just not taking the typical braking trajectory that you might expect there. Interestingly, though, you know, normally you'd say someone with aero damage in these cars with the draft in this sort of tight condition or this sort of tight racing wouldn't suffer too much. It's when they get out of draft that you really struggle. But around here, even though it looks like a really long straight out the back on the club straight, the draft really doesn't give you the same momentum to pass as it does at other tracks. I'm not sure if there's a permanent tailwind or something going on here down that back straight, Bertie, but just doesn't seem to give you the chance to pass. So Enzo really, in making that pass before, not only did fantastically well to put on such a great move, but he's serving his chances even better, because a small mistake off the back and he's off the back, and there's no chance of catching up with that wing damage, Bernie.
That's exactly right. And Alan Needle, we just saw him. He's in the pits now getting repairs, and the other cars that have had to come in due to damage, folks. Ben Snell has had to pit. So has Hakon Grebstad, Luke Witten. Big stop there as we see them hopping over that curb, and Josh Anderson, our first retirement.
Yeah, I just went back and caught the incident with Alan Needle. It was once again Carlos Sainz. He took a very tight line into turn 3. There's a massive bump in there. Really unsettles the car, pushed him right out offline into Alan Needle on his outside, and Alan unfortunately copped an awful lot of damage there. And then Tim Hendrickson, he's had a few collisions tonight, then happened to run into the back of Alan as well, and that's really not done wonders for his suspension. And Alan, as we saw, had to pit. So shame for Alan tonight. He was having a good race.
Yeah, he certainly was, and that's an interesting part of the track. I was going to ask you about that, because I saw in your race last night a few of the Skip Barbers were going on the inside here and actually launching just in this inside curb here, and we just saw Enzo catch the corner of it. Is that a bug, or is that a huge hole that these things are just digging in and flying out of?
Well, look, I spoke to Benny Simonson, our current race leader, in the last episode of my podcast, and I asked him about how accurate the scanning of the tracks is, and he said it's remarkable. He said every bump and nook and cranny on these circuits is exactly what they're like in real life. So I'm left to assume that there's a big bump there, surprisingly, on the apex ripple strip of turn 3 of this layout of Silverstone, Bernie, and certainly I'd suggest that the cars wouldn't jump that much in real life, and it would be a bit of a glitch, but everyone having practiced here this week will know that you've got to really manage your line through there. You wouldn't take the normal hard apex that you would at many corners at other circuits, because it just really bangs up the car. You actually do front wing damage if you collect it, even at a reasonable clip. So, and I've seen a number of accidents where, just like what happened to Alan Needle before, the inside car trying to take what is a natural racing line there, as we see them go 2 by 2 down the club straight on the tail end of lap 12 now. Bernie at A now, just poking his nose in front briefly. Bernie Simonson hugging the inside line. Alan trying to make that, Lopez trying to make that outside line work. He tries to switch back. Benny parks it on the apex. Great defensive driving line there from Benny. Holds him out for another lap. So the drivers here know they've got to avoid that big bump on turn 3, Bernie, or there'll be incidents aplenty.
Yeah, and we just had a look at that on the nose cam. You can actually see it. It's just on the inside of that corner. It's actually off the white line on the other side, but it's a very big impression, one could say, and I'd say they're putting 2 wheels across it and getting that front nose caught in it and launching the car. So I'd suspect that's what's going on. But let's have a look further back in the pack, because Bart Martinovic here, he's defending against Timu Vascalampi all the way down in 7th, but we saw Timu get turned, and he's basically trying to recover from that incident. Now we've got Christian Kabanka and Sam Katakazinos also battling for 8th and 9th down here, and then they spread out a little bit after that.
Yeah, well, it's a tale of the weary battle behind them, no doubt, with a number of incidents really busting up what was a pretty tight field. We could just see Timu Vascalampi having a look at Bart Martinovic in front of him now. They're going really tight into that final corner. Timu already carrying some battle scars tonight, no doubt. Oh, look at that, Bart running really wide under the pressure of Timu. Timu now getting a great run up the inside of the final straight there as they cross the line at the end of lap 13. The leader's already on lap 14. You'll see Bart now tucking it behind. He won't have the draft enough. Brake, drop down into 4th gear here. See, you don't want to run too wide here. Timu, stay off that grass there. There's some AstroTurf there that's got some grip on it, but if you get a toe on the grass there, it's just as easy to loop, spew you across to the right-hand side of the track, Bernie. They're right across in front of the driving line of the rest of the drivers. Seen that happen a number of times this season and last. But that battling there has also brought Sam Katagazinos and Christian Kabanka right back into this, Bernie. Both Sam and Sven behind him, Sven Plutter, are both up 7 positions off their starting spot in the grid, as is Bart Martinovic on the front of this pack, Bernie.
Yeah, Bart's now coming under pressure here from, who is that, Christian Kabanka. We did see Sam catch that rivet, well, whatever you want to call it, as he went through that corner, but of course no damage. He's continuing, but he's having a good run here. As we can see now, Sam starting to work on the back of Christian Kabanka here. On the inside, we've also got Bart now coming on the outside to defend, but let's jump up the front because it's still on between these 3. We've got Benny Simonson, he's defending from Ade Lopez, and of course Enzo Cantor is trying to hang on to the back of these 2.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, Enzo. He'll fancy his chances, no doubt. I'm really impressed with the drive of Benny Simonson so far, Bernie. He's racing a really canny race, although he's leaving the door open here. Lopez just tucking it behind. They're still, if you can believe it, they're on lap 15 here, so if my math serves me right, they've got about 7 and a bit laps remaining as they head through the final corner now on the tail end of that lap 15. Benny's driving a really smart race. We saw him do this at that spectacular race we had at Interlagos last season, where they went 4 wide into turn 1 at one stage, the lead 4. Benny drove an uncanny race. He didn't qualify on pole that night, but he drove really smart and managed to come away with a win. I'm expecting no less from him here tonight as he battles through this quality field, Benny.
Yeah, well, he's doing a great job there defending. He's looking at the statistics. He's led every single lap so far, and fastest lap time a 103.8. Let's have a look. I think that goes to Ade Lopez, 103.817.
Yeah, very impressive time actually. The three of them line astern here. Lopez maybe just biding his time. He's had a few cracks. He's probably just really looking for a solid opening there. Benny a bit slow there on entry. Lopez taking a really tight line. Lopez creeping right up on him. The rear of Benny Simmonson's car there looked a bit loose as he got under the power there. Managed to keep good traction there and maintain his drive as Lopez now right on his tail. Looking at Benny, forces him to the outside. Lopez keeping Benny tight, but because that's challenging. He's kind of defending from the outside there as he tries to attack at the same time. But Benny's having none of it. Maintains a good drive out. Leaves the door open for Lopez into turn 2 here, Bernie. Lopez showing the nose there, forcing Benny to really drive aggressively there. Really good defensive driving there. Holds a nice line there through turn 3 onto the club straight out the back there, Bernie. Takes the wide line so that Lopez cannot maximise any draft that there is. I'll tell you who is though, Enzo behind. Lopez now cuts across the inside, says, no, Enzo, you cannot have that run. I'm having the inside line as much as it might cost me. Now Enzo trying to drive around the outside, not quite getting the drive and has to tuck in behind once again as they round out lap 17, Bernie.
Yeah, fantastic racecraft by all three of these, and it's interesting to see how Ade's positioning his car. He's not only attacking, but he's using, he's got excellent racecraft, as we'd expect from this calibre of drivers, and he really knows how to position that car and defend as Enzo gets it a bit crossed up, four-way drift, he pulls it back up, but Enzo's really pushing, but now we're coming down, folks, into McKellar Bend, as I like to call it, and Benny gets that classic McKellar exit out of this turn here. I know Benny's searching for a 1X out there, but mate, you can go a lot wider than that.
Oh, he's going right out the McKellar line there through what's more commonly known as maggots, Bertie. But I tell you what, I tried very hard to find the incident point out there last night in the Super Skips, and there was not one to be found, no matter how hard I tried. But Enzo, perhaps with a premature wiggle into turn 1 last lap. Oh, Lopez going wide. He's left the door open for Enzo here. Enzo holding a nice tight line on the ripple strip, looking to get what drive he can. You see the guys, both of them there, Benny and Lopez, using all the runoffs, AstroTurf at the final corner there, Bernie, getting their drive off. And Enzo, maybe due to that rear wing damage, or maybe just the tighter line that he was forced to or chose to take there, as they run wide again on the exit of turn 1, not able to get the drive that he needed to commit or manage to complete that overtake there, Bernie. Lopez now again showing the nose on the inside to Maggots there. Good exit there again. Benny's what's he going to do this time? No, he's going to hold it tight and then swing out. Very deliberate motion there to swing out. It's interesting. You can get a really good drive out of the corner there, but also, if you stay on the other side of that line and then park it on that line as you come back. Enzo now looking to make it 2, almost 3 wide. He's got a good inside line there. What's Lopez? Oh, the rear of Betty's car stepped out. What's that going to do for Enzo? Lopez just stuck it in there. He said, no, if you're going to go that fast, I'm going to go with you. And again, he's looking to attack and defend at the same time. What a high caliber race we've got here tonight, Bernie.
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome, isn't it, as we ride now with Enzo going wide and he tucks back in again, and these guys are going so close. I'm expecting some sort of contact, but it's just not happening, which is fantastic. But touch wood, because now that we've mentioned it, it probably will happen.
Yeah, just the 3 laps remaining now. This battle is really intense. Lopez once again. Oh, he's let the rear step out there. Left Enzo to do the little jump on the inside there. Gets a great drive, but he's kept narrow, which minimises that exit speed. Looks like Benny's taking a more traditional line down the back club straight here, Bernie, because he knows the guys didn't get the drive end or the draft. Nose to tail here as they head through. Oh, Lopez taking a nice tight line there, tucks in behind Benny. Line astern they are, Bernie, once again. Carlos Sainz now sitting in 4th, coming under attack by Tim Hendrickson in 5th. Tim, after having, as Kevin would say, more hits than Elvis tonight, he's done really well to be in the top 5 here with Bart Martin, or was it Bart behind him? I must have misplaced. Oh no, it must have been a lapped Luke Whitten behind him. I noticed the livery, but I didn't realise it was Luke who's down a lap in P16. We can see Tim Hendrickson now forced to tuck in behind Uriah Saints at this stage, Bernie, with just these 2 laps remaining.
Yeah, and we can see now we're riding with Timo Vascalampi here as he makes a move. Bart Martinovic and Christian Kabanka, if the cameraman can actually get a decent angle here, also battling it out 2 wide here. Sam Katakazinos on the inside, what's he going to do? He's going to just tuck in. Oh, Timo's around.
Yeah, Timu really pushed his luck, shall we say, on that inside bump. The car was 4 wheels off the ground, and when it landed, it just looped. They were 2x2 Noah's Ark style there, Bertie, and it really just wasn't going to work. And unfortunately for Timu, his bad run tonight's continued as Christian and Bart are going 2 wide through the second to last corner, with Sam licking his lips behind, sitting in P8. He's up 8 positions now, Bernie. 2x2 again, Bart Martinovic, as they head across to try and cross for the last lap here, Bernie. What are they doing up front? Benny Simonson still out front. Enzo now sitting in second with Lopez in third, Bernie.
Yeah, so let's see if Enzo can actually hold it, and we didn't see where he made that pass, but he's definitely made it. Now what can Ade do? Can he get up the inside? Can he get a good run out of here and put it up on the inside of Enzo? But we know Enzo's a canny driver, just like these two, and he's going to go very defensive here, I'd suspect.
Yeah, he'd park it on the left-hand side. No, oh wow, he made Lopez go wide there and then continued out wide to force him even wider and open up the corner a bit for himself. Lopez, great drive around the outside there, kicks up a cone on the inside, makes the pass stick. Meanwhile, Benny Simonson driving a fantastic and intelligent race. Looks like he's going to take the win here, Bernie. Enzo not going to get the drive and going to have to settle for third place. Fantastic race up front, Bernie.
Absolutely awesome race, and I tell you what, when Enzo parked it on the inside, he probably thought, there we go, fireworks, folks. Who was that? That was Benny blowing his motor.
Celebratory blow of the motor there. Tim Hendrickson battled his way back to fourth. Christian Kabanka crossed in fifth. Sam Katagazinos, massive race for Sam, up 9 spots to P7, Bernie. Sven, after blowing his qualifying up to 10th there, Bernie. Kevin Henderson only up the 1 position. I didn't really see much of what happened to Kevin there, but he's crossed the line in 11th nonetheless and in the points, Bernie.
Yeah, and Jeremiah got up to 12th at the end of that. We're just seeing Hakon now. Had a bit of a bad luck run there tonight. He was involved in a bit of a few, like one incident anyway, which he had to pit to get that car repaired. But the drivers that did have to pit, they were, once again, Ben Snell, Alan Needle, Hakon Grebstad, Luke Whitten, and Josh Anderson. And Josh was our only retirement.
Yeah, most of those guys, I'm just watching Ben Snell just do some great drift work throughout the final series of quarters on his warm down lap. Ben, you meant to keep it a bit cooler on your cool down lap. I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, so most of those guys getting caught up in that incident towards the start of the race, Bernie, through the final series of corners, just I couldn't necessarily call it any poor driving by anyone in particular, just a series of unfortunate events as they unfolded. Certainly a few guys disappointed at a lost opportunity here, Bernie.
Yeah, it's been a very interesting race, hasn't it? That's for sure. But let's go through our final results here at round 2. Silverstone National. Benny Simonson led from start to finish. Started from pole, finished on pole. And he takes a win, closely followed by Ade Kober Lopez, who just took the outside of Enzo there for second. Enzo Canna settled for third. Then we had Tim Hendrickson finishing in fourth. Fifth, Christian Kabanka. Sixth, the first of the Australians, or New Zealanders, Bart Martinovic. Then 7th, great drive there by Sam Katakazinos, up 9 positions to come home in 7th. Timo Vascalampi finishes in 8th, followed by Ben Snell in 9th. Sven Platter, hope I got that right, Sven, finishes 10th. up 7 positions. Kevin Henderson 11th. Then we have Jeremiah Morton. He comes home in 12th. In 13th, Alan Needle, followed by Hakon Grebstad. Carlos Sainz home in 15th. Luke Whitten 16th. Josh Anderson finishes 17th. So correct me if I'm wrong here, but the biggest mover looks like it might have been Sam Katakazinos. Biggest shaker was Josh Anderson.
Yeah, it certainly appears that way. Sam pipped both Christian Kabunka and Bart Martinovic for that biggest mover there. Bart and Christian up 8 positions with Sam up 9. Unfortunately for Josh, he was unable to compete up the front for as long as he would have liked. Pretty costly in terms of iRating and lost opportunity for points. I called the move that Enzo made. It was on the final lap into turn 1. It was actually Lopez sort of got run a little bit wide by Benny, taking a natural line there, and he got out onto the grass there. If you keep your wheels straight, you can actually keep full throttle on there. I don't know how much running Lopez has done around here, but he so maybe backed out a bit to keep control of the car, and Enzo went up the inside, but all to no avail, as we saw, as Lopez put on a fantastic move around the around Woodcote at the end of the it's Brooklands at the end of the club straight. So fantastic racing all around tonight, Bernie. I don't know who I would pick for the drive of the night beyond. Probably Benny Simonson, our race winner. He led every lap, if I'm not mistaken. Drove fantastically well in a defensive sense. Nothing that you'd call, even close to unsportsmanlike. I thought he drove really well, really tidily, and really cleverly at the same time.
Yeah, it was a great drive, wasn't it? And just the way he positioned the car, you could tell the professional driver experience coming out. The same as Ade Lopez taking the outside of Enzo Cantor there. Enzo parked it in there and said, "It's mine." And Ade said, "I don't think so, pal," and snatched it back, all without contacting each other. So great driving.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these three didn't have a touch all night that I saw. I know Enzo's got damage, but that was from someone touching his rear earlier in the race. Might have been Ben Hendrickson, I think. I can't recall specifically. But, those guys drove a fantastic race. It really showed what Skippy racing is all about. Really tight, close quarters racing. No quarter asked or given. The tactics and the time you've got to really think about your strategy is those guys that are great at this car will win out with in the end. So yeah, fantastic race. Really glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, and we're just having a look at this replay here of Ade final lap as he makes this move on the outside of Enzo, and we'll stay with this, folks, so we can just see a master at work.
Yeah, look, it was a fantastic move, wasn't it? I'll just see if I can't catch up with where it's at. I'm on the lap before. But yeah, if I catch up with it there, he's come down and Enzo's parked it on the inside, forced him to go around the outside. It's a tighter line there for Enzo. He's got a lot of work to do, and Lopez used every single piece of the track there, Bernie, even taking out one of Nim Cross's cones on the way in. He's then really put it strongly on the apex there, and really impressed with the amount of speed he was able to carry there, and actually gain a bit on Enzo. Enzo just tight there on the inside. Lopez doing a fantastic job using every single inch of the runoff there at track out, Bernie, and not leaving Enzo any chance to draft past him to grab that other spot. Fantastic display.
Yeah, it certainly was, and we've got Enzo Cantor in the green room, so I don't know how your French is, but probably better than my Italian, so we'll bring him up and we'll have a chat.
Yeah, I'll ring you up.
It's the Lemsip, that's what's doing it, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. G'day, Enzo. Alex McKellar here, mate. Welcome to the RRTV commentary booth once again. What a race up front, mate. Give us your thoughts on that. We thoroughly enjoyed calling it and watching it, mate. What was it like for you out there on track?
Hi, guys. I'm always happy to be here, even if I didn't win today, but if I don't go here... nothing, no one else. So I don't want to let you both alone here. So I will go here every time if it will be possible. So, sorry, the race today. Yeah, I saw Adai in the entry list, so I wasn't sure I could not get the pole, and yeah, I was surprised by Benny lap because I know he is fast, but I was surprised, and yeah, I decided to do a patient race, almost sitting behind as a duck, differently from my habits. But well, let me say one thing. I don't know what you think about it, but I think it's not really unfair to go every lap over the white line on the extreme left of the track to defend the position in that way. So and I think Benny changed the line too many times and causing some trouble to Adai, that is a very good and experienced and pro driver. So he survived only because he is a pro. But I think Benny is not today was not fair at all. I tried to battle with Adai and to keep the second place, but it was very impossible to pass Benny today because he found I think, in my opinion, an unfair way to defend this position every lap. You can go over the white line if you go wide one time, two times, three times, but not always all laps. Only because iRacing didn't give you a penalty for that. But you know, there is an advantage, and that is not the track. So I think you understood what I meant.
Yeah, mate, I do. It's a challenging one. There's a couple of schools of thoughts on it. I don't know which one I subscribe to more myself. I know that there are tracks like Spa where the incident boundaries are quite tight by many people's opinions, and here I don't know whether it's just because this configuration of the track is not used very often, excuse me, or whether that's the reason why they haven't tightened up that exit there. But you're right. There's a massive runoff there, and it seems to be a quirk of this track that runoff there. Well after you've sort of got your drive for the corner, you can get a big advantage out there. But two school of thoughts. I think the one that you expressed is certainly one of them, where lap after lap, it's perhaps not in the spirit of things. But then the other school of thoughts is that I guess that the track limits are there for a reason. I'm not really sure which one I subscribe to be honest. But I can certainly see your point there, mate. I thought, as you said, Lopez drove a brilliant race behind Benny there. Benny himself, I thought, drove really well, and yourself, you had a bit of damage there, mate. Do you know what caused that at the start there?
I was very, very lucky because I took a great crash behind me. I was almost sure my suspension could be damaged, or my rear wing. I don't know if I had the rear wing damaged, but I decided to proceed the race thinking that the car was entirely not damaged. So I think suspension was good, perhaps only a bit damage on the rear wing, but car was definitely good. And if I would take more risks, I could try to pass in many points of the track. I left the throttle so many times today. But well, when you see a driver driving in that way in front of you, you think you have a split Eiger. I think the highest split of the week today, because more than 4,400 sank to field. So it was important to finish the race, and for me the podium was enough. But if it was a lower split, you can be sure that I will try to get some move, taking some risks, because yeah, again, you can defend your first position. You are fast enough. You can do that trick that I think is not fair. But the time you are in troubles and someone is trying to pass you in another part of the track, you can't change line in that way, risking to do a disaster only to defend the first position. I'm taking all the responsibilities to what I'm saying today. Benny could come here and answer me. He is not here, but I think he is not. He was not today a fair driver. So
Yeah,
I
look,
have I don't know what else to say, because it was surely a wonderful race. Adai is a very, very strong driver. I had a lot of fun, and so for me this is the important thing today. I will not think about Benny more.
No, I think there's a couple of really good points you made there, mate. Lopez's driving was outstanding tonight. I was remarkably impressed with the way he drove that overtake that he put on you on the last couple of corners there. You held the inside line really well, forced him to the outside, didn't allow him to squeeze you tight, and then he just found a way to make it work through there, using every single bit of the track. Even kicked off one of the cones at one point. Was spectacular. I also thought you yourself drove quite smart, settling to sit in the back there and wait for the opportunities to open up. With the calibre of guys around you, though, the opportunities were hard to find, mate. But I thought you made every post a winner at the same time. So, congratulations on the race tonight. Bernie's got a bit of the lurgy, so I won't ask him to come in, mate. Is there anyone before we let you go that you'd like to give a shout out to?
Thank you. I have to say thanks, as always, to my teammate Fabio Mantellini, my team Mivano Racing, my sponsors Trustmaster, TRL, Cube, and all the others. And as always, thank you for the great work. And I want to look at the broadcast soon, because I think it was very exciting to watch at it for the race today.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Always great to have you here down under, mate, and great split to be a part of this week, as you say, strongest one of the week at 4,400, mate. So congratulations again, and I hope we see you next week.
Yeah, I hope so. I have to learn again Veer from at all, because I didn't drive in that track. I think from about 10 or 12 months. So I really don't remember nothing of that track. So it will be a very hard week for me. I hope to have enough time to practice.
Yeah, good one, mate. We'll hope to see you then, and enjoy your week.
Oh yeah, thank you. See ya.
Fantastic. Well, that was Enzo Kander, folks. I noticed down in the iRacing lobby there, Alex Benny is there. Did you want to see if he wanted to also pop up and have a chat?
Well, I don't know. I don't want to drag him up if he's not in the green room, but I know
okay.
He's in the chat in YouTube as well. So if you're listening, Benny, I'll just give a shout out to the guys in the second split. If you're interested in coming up, mate, just hop in the green room. We'll have a chat. Just to give a shout out to the guys in the second split, at least. Thanks to who was that? Tim Hendrickson, who posted the results there, so we can have a look. Plenty of the regulars in the top split, of course, relegated because of that massive strength of field, including car number one, who was Russell Clark. He's finished in P3, just behind his team Milo counterpart in Alex John in P2, with Mark Kerr, another local Aussie, taking out the win there. Fantastic result for them. Other notables there: Mick Gray finishing the top five, Rick Davis grabbing a great P6, Isaac Sinage, a driver that I don't know, in P4. So plenty of the regulars there. Great to see Ben Seidel back in P13. Ben's a guy I remember from my early days in the skips. He's one of the first guys I sort of made a friend out of, a guy that I rear-ended at one point, Bertie. I sent him an apology via PM. He was very gracious, and we became friends out of that. I'm glad to see him back in the skippies anyway, Bernie. But big shout out to the guys in the second split who would normally join us here in the top split. Fantastic run, and if you'll indulge me a little bit, Les Peck, another local favourite, he's taken out the third split. Congratulations to Les, Nathan Kong, Sean Watts, Aaron Ivers and Alex Greenwood rounding out your top five. Of course, this competition sees the top four splits score points in an overall season championship, but congratulations for everyone who came out and made tonight what it was.
Yeah, it was a fantastic turnout, wasn't it? And I can see we've got Benny in the green room to bring him up. And it's an interesting thing. Like, I've looked at that, and as a racing driver, I've always thought that if you can exploit the limits of a track, you'll do it, unless there's a 1x, 4x, whatever. So to me, taking that wide line out there, if you can do it and you're not going to get pinged for it, well, it's game on as far as I'm concerned, but maybe I'm wrong. But let's bring Benny up anyway, and firstly congratulate him on an absolutely awesome effort. Start to finish, he led, he took pole. He did not get the fastest lap though. That went to Ade Lopez with a 103.812.
Absolutely. Do you want first crack, or do you want me to have a chat to Benny?
Oh, you're on a roll, man. I can't shut you up tonight. So.
I thought I'd save you throat, mate. I'll bring you up and have a chat. Benny, Alex McKelly here, mate, in the RRTV commentary booth. Welcome along. Congratulations, mate. Great to talk to you again, by the way. Last time we spoke was a podcast, and I really enjoyed that too. But congratulations, mate. Flag to flag, pole. You didn't grab the fastest lap because Lopez grabbed it in your draft there tonight. But what a race, mate. Spectacular performance up front. How did you find the action out there?
Hey, mate. Good to see you again. Yeah, it was a good race. It's not an easy track to stay in front, but no, it's all went as planned, really.
Yeah, we were just having the conversation I think you heard with Enzo, and Benny and I were just Bernie and I were just discussing it then. You know, look, the track limits are there for a reason, right? Enzo was concerned that he didn't think it was in the spirit of it, but you know, I don't know which way to go with it myself. I think the rules are there, the boundaries are there, and perhaps I think you made the most of it tonight. And quite frankly, I thought you drove a really smart race under those conditions, and the calibre of the racing between the three of you, particularly between yourself and Lopez, was really first class and great to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed racing with Lopez. That was a mega battle, fair. Really good. He put me under pressure. I think Enzo was lucky just to keep up in the draft, really, which is why he probably wasn't attacking more. But yeah, very good with Lopez. According to the track limits, I mean, you just called me out. That's why I came up. But I think it's very easy. It's if there's a limit there, put a 1x there. If there's not a limit, then there's no 1x. It's the game we play. The same in real life. If everybody's driven the old Silverstone National, the touring cars, I mean, it's quite easy. You just go on YouTube and put the British touring car national races in. They go over the white line as well, as much as you want. There's no track limit there. If you want a simulator, you got a simulator. I'm sure if I'd driven to the white line and just stayed close to the white line all the way down straight, I wouldn't question Enzo or Lopez would have spun straight over on the left side down the inside. I wouldn't even have thought for a second they wouldn't have tried. So I think he just cries like he normally does. He's been whining, moaning, bitching for a couple of years. Every time he doesn't whine, he cry. And he's probably the most dangerous and most reckless driver on the whole simulator.
Look, I appreciate your perspective around that white line. It really is, particularly in the front spot there. You don't know what the guys behind you are going to do, whether they're going to take advantage of that or not. But I think you defended your position really strongly tonight, and really quite cleverly at the same time. Really intelligent race, I thought you ran as well. Now, I did have one question and I don't know if I'm going to steal it from Bernie here or not.
Oh, you probably will.
You and I, Benny, we spoke about the accuracy of the tracks here in the iRacing service. Now, Bernie and I were talking about the bump on the apex of turn 3 and what it does to these cars. How accurate is that bump compared to real life?
I mean, this track is obviously it had a bit of a resurf since this. So the real life bit has had a resurf since I think this track was scanned. I mean, I worked at Silverstone as an instructor for about 10 years now, so I know the track as good as my own backyard, really. But I don't think that bump is there in real life. I think it must be something like the way they connected the curbs. There's never been a bump there in real life, not to that extent. I mean, nothing that would ever upset the car. The curb is quite high, but apart from that, it's absolutely spot on. I mean. It's so good made. Every other corner is really, really spot on.
Yeah, good one. Well, good to know to have that clarified, because I know a number of people would have been asking that question this week, and probably raising an eyebrow or two at the that massive bump and what it does to these cars. Now, I have to let Bernie have his shot if I haven't stolen his question already. Bernie, you got any questions, mate?
Mate, I was wondering when you're going to shut up.
Sorry, mate.
No, firstly, Benny, fantastic drive, mate. Leading from start to finish, taking pole, winning the race. You had some very, very strong competition up there, but yeah, I was commenting on the racecraft of all three of you guys. It was fantastic. As far as questions I've got, not really any. I guess weighing into that discussion we were having, as far as I'm concerned, mate, when it comes to a racetrack, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not a race driver by any means, but if you can exploit a racetrack and get away with it, and there's no marshals there that are going to ping you, as far as I'm concerned, it's game on.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's the clever thing about being a race driver. The clever driver finds the gap and the holes and where you can cheat and where you can't, and you keep doing it till you get caught. As I said, if iRacing wants you not to use that, put a 1x in. But it's no different from, I mean, on that bit now in real life there's grass, but up to 3-4 years ago, as I said, it was tarmac and he was fully allowed to drive it. I mean, as I said, it's just put YouTube videos in from 6-7 years ago, and you can see the touring cars going all over to the left. So yeah, you go to the line, and if you get caught, you get caught. For me, as I said, if iRacing doesn't want you to use it, put a 1x in. Simple as that, to be fair.
Yeah, I totally agree. So yeah, that's. I'm glad you came up just to so we could discuss that through. So that was really great. I've never met you before, Benny. So glad to meet you, mate.
You too, Benny.
Did you want to give a shout out to any of your sponsors or anyone that's been backing you?
Just a big thank you to Hoskinfield Engineering for pedals and equipment, mega equipment, and yeah, that's all really.
Fantastic. Yeah, I saw the sponsor on the side of your car, and I was going to ask you what the pedals are like. I've heard they're pretty good.
Yeah, they are pretty good. It seems to they seem to have found me another 10 for 2 from previous seasons. So it's yeah, very impressive, and I can highly recommend them. They definitely seem to be finding a little bit of speed from other equipment, I thought.
Fantastic. All right, Benny. Well, thanks for popping in, mate. Once again, congratulations on the win, and hopefully we'll see you down under again soon.
Yeah, no worries.
All right, see you, buddy.
Cheers, guys.
So, folks, that was Benny Simonson, our race winner tonight. So, interesting discussion there, but I'm glad Benny came up because I think I can see both sides of it. But, you know, racing's racing. So.
Yeah, look, you know, I think about the other sports that I've played and you know, rugby or different codes of football. You know, people always test the boundaries. They test the limit of the rules. And Benny has a point when he says, you know, if iRacing would have put a 1x out there, and if they wanted it to be there, I guess, and it was true to life to how it used to be prior to the track resurfacing and the adjustments that have been made to the track in recent years. And of course, iRacing haven't updated this track to meet those new standards, if you like. So I can see both sides, and I can't really be true to myself and sit on the fence too much, because if anyone's watched my race from last night, I was testing the limits as much as anyone else, partially for reasons of I couldn't believe it, you know, that there wasn't a 1x out there given some of the constraints on other tracks. So look, I'd probably lean on the side of using the track to its full extent at that point there. I can see Enzo's point, but at the end of the day, it's a line painted on the track, to a simulated track, and iRacing have the functionality and the capability of restricting you inside that, and they don't. So one's only left to assume that it's that way for a reason. So regardless of all that, I would still give Benny my driver of the night. I thought he displayed a fantastic array of skills in defending that flag-to-flag victory, and really impressed overall by the standard. You know, there were some bumps and bruises along the way, some unfortunate incidents, but in this massive strength of field, there was a lot to play for, and everyone came to play.
They certainly did, and it was an awesome drive. So, yeah, Benny Simonson takes drive of the night tonight for sure, and hopefully now we've discussed that discussion from both sides and put our points of view in it so we can put it all to bed. But awesome racing there, and yeah, we watched you race out there, and I tell you what, you went so wide through McKellar Curb. One, it got named after you, and two, I thought you were looking for Brands Hatch for a moment.
Yeah, I know. I tell you what, I just didn't want to damage my wing on that artificial bump in there.
Of course.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, it was an interesting race. If you haven't caught up on that, folks, definitely go out and check the top split. It's on your YouTube channel, isn't it? Alex?
Yeah, mate, it's on both. Top Split TV on Twitch, or head over to the Top Split on YouTube. My clumsy effort at this track last night in the Super Skips is up there. It was a lot of fun. I did enjoy the Milo sandwich I was in with Roman, Alex, John, and myself. It was a lot of fun.
I actually felt very sorry for Alex John. I felt like you two were just beating up on him, and I was sitting here, although I am sick, I was looking for a hockey stick to go you. But then I figured it's not live, so there's no point.
Did you see in the middle of the race he thought he'd been mugged? That was pretty funny.
Yeah, I did see that.
It was a lot of fun. Questions come from the crowd, Bernie. Are you doing the Wankel Australia-New Zealand Championship on Wednesday tonight? Is that ahead in your future this week?
Yeah, it certainly is. So looking at the RRTV broadcast for the rest of the weeks, folks, we do have the Wankel Australia-New Zealand Championship Wednesday night. Then Thursday night, we've got Thursday Night Thunder. The trucks are back, and they're putting on an awesome show. Friday night, we've got the Australian Online Supercar Championship, so that's coming your way. Then, of course, Saturday night, we've got the Australian-New Zealand split of the World's Fastest Gamer qualifiers, and that rounds up our week. So a lot on here at RRTV, so definitely tune in. And if you haven't seen the Pro Mazdas go at it, it's often a lot of fun, and some good racing as well, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. I was fortunate enough to take part in that around Spa last week. Really, really enjoy that car at that track, and that series was great. A lot of fun to get out there. It's similar to the Australasian Super Skips. You make a compulsory pit stop and drive with a good bunch of people in a fantastic series. So thoroughly recommend getting out and supporting that series. The organisers there have had a fair bit of experience, but they've had a bit of a hiatus back into organising a great open wheeler series, Bernie.
Yeah, they've had a bit of a break, but, you know, if you look back in the archives of RRTV, you'll see SMAC, Star Mazda Australian Championship. They're the same guys running this, and they went from that. They had another series, I think, and now they're at the Pro Mazda, which is awesome racing. But I'm not. Are you going to be joining them on Wednesday night, Alex, or are you still got family commitments?
Oh, I'm crossing my fingers, Bernie. Dad's taxi's on duty on a Wednesday night. I got a small piece of relief last week, but I'll get out there if I can. Been really enjoying a combination of Skippy and Pro Mazda this season, and a bit of last. So if I can be there, I will, mate.
Yeah, fantastic, and it'll be good to see you out there. And yeah, what can I say? Go Team Milo! I'm there, mate. I'm going to get my shirt, I'm going to make my Milo, and I'm going to sit there and I'm going to cheer.
We'll need a live cam with you with your shirt on, mate. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I might even have to sing the Milo song if I can remember it. But anyway, folks, hope you've enjoyed tonight's telecast of the Skip Barber Monday Lights. Sorry for the cameras. Silverstone National doesn't get used much, I was saying to Alex, because TV 1, 2 and 3 on this circuit are all the same, and they're not very good. So 5 minutes before the broadcast started, maybe 10, I actually went in there and tweaked the cameras to try to give you guys a bit of a view of what was going on. But as always, Alex, it's always a pleasure having you up here, even though you're picking on me tonight. It was always good to have you up in the booth.
Thanks, Bertie. I was trying to look after you, mate. I'm sorry if I came across otherwise, but thank you for having me as always. Thanks to our viewers and primarily to the drivers themselves. They put on a great show, make this event what it is. Number one split for the week. Fantastic effort. Always a pleasure to do this with you, Bernie. Look forward to next week already.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely awesome next week, and you meant to stall them because I can't find my closing video. This is how pro we are at RRTV, folks.
First time you've ever complained I haven't talked enough, Bernie. What's going on?
Yeah, I can't find it now. But, yeah, you're talking all the wrong spaces. No, you don't. Yeah, anyway, folks, thanks for tuning in tonight. Hope you've enjoyed it, as I said earlier. Hope we'll have your company back on Wednesday night for the open wheeler action there, or even the NASCAR trucks if you like, the oval racing. But until then, on behalf of Alex McKellar, I'm Bernie Weemers. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy your work week, and when you need a break from the stress, come and join us back on RRTV. Anyway, good night.